very excited about this upcoming school year and the opportunities we're going to have to expand our work with parents. The mission of Dayton Independent Schools is to inspire, engage, and grow our students. And this year we've extended that mission to add on two key words: and families. The why behind this extension of our mission is based on the understanding that to grow our students, we must know our students, and no one knows our students better than our families. So this school year, we're going to shift 3 instructional days to 3 positive parenting partnership days. We're going to have a day at the beginning of the year, middle of the year, and at the end of the year, a reflection on how the school year went, in which we sit down and talk with parents, not talk to parents. We're going to listen, we're going to learn, we're going to make authentic conversations about the strengths of the child and the opportunities for growth for this child. So our goal is to improve communication and trust through conversations and listening. We often see that schools can kind of have this factory model. Kids come in, kids come out. There's not this whole partnership wrapped around the child, and that's what we're after in our positive parenting partnerships. So we spent some time reading the book Powerful Partnerships, and we see in core belief number 4 that the primary responsibility for establishing and cultivating these relationships lies on the school staff and school leadership. So that's why we're creating these days, setting aside that critical time to work with parents, work with them through conversations to learn more. So at Dayton Independent Schools, we are making the building of parent partnerships a top priority in our district. This school year, we're taking that bold step and setting aside time to create a system in which we ensure that we partner with parents to grow their children. We believe firmly that we must leverage the power found in our families and the many strengths that they have to achieve our mission to inspire, engage, and grow.
After asking our teachers to examine their family engagement plans, what they came up with was a first hour point of contact plan. So what that means is our first period teachers reached out to every single student's family personally and allowed parents to feel like they had someone in the school that they could contact for questions and concerns. And they did that throughout the year, so parents consistently had that personal open communication with our teachers.
You and I have the luxury of serving on site base together, but you have many other hats that you wear in your school building. I think that you've done an excellent job um, of demonstrating what family engagement can look like. So, one thing that I thought really stood out to me this school year was how the PTA's first interaction with families was as they entered the school on orientation day. Can you tell us about that?
Sure, sure. We had our tables placed by the front door so that families had the opportunity to engage with us as the very first point of contact when they got to the school, which was really nice for us to be able to welcome them, explain a little bit about what parent leadership and PTA is all about and how to be connected in the school, especially during a time when connection is changing every day, how we can be connected. We also accepted, put out that we were accepting and accepted donations to the stock the break room for our teachers for the first week of school, which was wonderful because lots of families were able to donate to that, and we were able to set up a really nice setup for them. And it's just another way, since you can't be in the classroom or in the building traditionally in many ways that you've been able to in previous times, to support our teachers as we enter this school year.
Yeah, and that reminds me that that connection that we look for when we first went into the pandemic, you and I were able to very quickly pivot to a virtual platform to show teachers and staff in the building how much they were appreciated. And a Google Doc was created called High Fives and Hugs, where families were allowed to, write a message to a teacher and just say, Thanks for staying on class on, virtual class with me 5 more minutes. Thank you for whatever it may have been, because we did lose that connection, but we did all that we could to make sure that some of it was lasting. And that's that connection, and then the social emotional support that we all needed at that time really was highlighted. Another thing that I thought was fantastic was orientation. It wasn't your traditional come between 6 and 8 o'clock. Can you tell me about that extension that
Yeah.
was offered to families?
Absolutely. As you know, in our site based conversation, we began to talk about some of the needs for our families this year. Some of these children that are coming in the building had not been in the school building since March of 2020 at all. Some families chose to keep their children virtual throughout the end of the school year, and some of them may be coming in for the first time as kindergartners, and all of those things. And we talked about some of the traditional come between 6 and 8 at the school issues that we've had is that you can't really connect one-on-one with your teacher. You can't tell the teacher, here are the things about my kid. The kid feels pressure because there's usually other people in the room. And so for a lot of reasons, Dixie, out of that site-based conversation, developed a 10 in the morning to 6:30 at night window for orientation, which is fantastic, because then our friends with special needs or extra needs can have that time. Parents, can really have the time to connect with the teachers and get to know the classroom. Again, one of those rare times that we can come in the building, but because they spread it out, we were able to interface in the classroom setting without worrying about, doing anything that might put anybody at risk for COVID. And it was really nice that they offered translation services between a certain block of time, so that our families that had translation needs didn't have to squeeze their time into that traditional 2-hour window. They had an entire 2-hour window where translators would be there just for them if they needed those services.
That was fantastic. And I know when I walked my fourth grader in, it was very unique to see the leadership team welcoming all families in the foyer. And there wasn't a line of people or a crowd of people
Mm,
around them. They were there, they were masked, and behind that mask, I could see a smile, right? They were so ready to greet families. So, last but
absolutely.
certainly not least, I wanted you to touch on a project that I know was very near and dear to you. You were able to put some kits together for families.
Yeah, last year, we had heard about another school doing something similar, and we took the project and kind of made it our own at Dixie, where we created a social emotional learning kits. And we had 3 kits that we offered. We did a spy kit, we did a sensory kit, and we did a game night kit. And each of our PTA board members that worked on the project took and developed the kit and found the items and priced the items on their own. And then we gave all families at Dixie the opportunity to register for one social emotional learning kit per child. And they could come and pick those up in a drive-through line at school. So it gave us an opportunity to provide something to the families there. And we were partnered with Home Depot and Lowe's and got some building kits donated as an extra bonus. And so we were able to have a component of community engagement, which is always important. And our community partners really feel connected to the schools, and the schools can have a feeling that the school families can feel like the community is supporting them as well. And then because we did the drive-through line in person, we were able to, interface with families in a very quick drive-through way. And again, like behind the masks, you could really see both the parents and the kids were really appreciative of the kits, and were able to be at school. We lose those opportunities for families to be at school for non-educational purposes, right? For non-primary educational purposes. But this was a way, we can't have a fall festival, but we can provide you this fun kit of activities to do at home, and you can pick it up at your school. So your school is behind you, the other parents at your school support you. You're connected in a way that's different from just traditional academic classroom learning.
Awesome. I love it so much. Well, I'm going to put you on the spot, and I just want you to think, if before we depart, if you had one description for a school who's really trying to improve family engagement, or one that's just really starting out with implementing new practices, what would be your recommendation? What is the best way to get started? And then what do families and schools need to have effective partnerships?
I would say that it is never a bad idea to ask. Don't wait for the school to call you and say, "Hey, we think the kids need a social emotional kit." If you hear about something great that somebody's doing, or if you come up with an idea on your own, you personally gave the suggestion of the Hugs and High Fives program that we were able to develop it. It never hurts when you have an idea or a glimmer of something to just let a parent leader that's already in action or the administration know, hey, we have this great thing, we want to try it, what do you think about this, rather than waiting for them to come to you and say, hey, we have a need. And I think that spoke to your first question most of all. Did I cover, what did you ask me
Yeah,
second? I'm so sorry.
absolutely. I
Okay,
think so.
okay, fantastic.
Thank you, Ruth.
All right, thanks, Andrea.